boss has the title, a leader, he has the people. So today we have a leader with us, someone who is not only known for his skills, but who knows for his exceptional leadership traits. So let's welcome Philip Barnes, CEO of Rotana Hotels. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's nice to be here.
So let's take a trip down a memory lane. And I want to know that few decades ago, what was the thing that inspired you to pursue a career in hospitality industry?
Well, my first introduction to hospitality was in what I would classify as a summer job before I'd finished school. And I went to a hotel that opened in the village that my parents lived in England. And I took a job there for the summer, and it was to do anything and everything that I was told to do, which involved everything from making beds to answering the phones to helping cook breakfast to serving to stocking the bars, you name it. And I fell in love with this industry because it was so diverse. Every day was going to be different, and it continues along those lines to be different every day.
So coming back to this time, there should be something that kept you motivated through all these years to remain in this industry.
I think that when you're in this industry, you have to have a love for people first and foremost, whether it's your guests or your colleagues, but that's where it begins and ends. You know, hotels otherwise are just bricks and mortar. And the reality of it is you have to bring them to life through the people who work there. And it's that stimulates me the most. How do you energize a hotel? How do you energize a business? So that's the piece that gets me out of bed every morning, thinking about what are we going to do today? Where are we going today? And how are we going to bring a level of excitement into what we do?
Something exciting every day.
There is something exciting every day, and it's not always something that you want to deal with. It's not always the pleasant things, but it's the reality of the world in which we live. There's always something that needs attention. And I think if you have a passion for excellence, which I certainly believe that I do, then this comes to the forefront in everything that I do.
So as you stepped into this position of Rotana, so what is your main priority for Rotana? Well,
you know, you're catching me 90 days in. So it's really what's happened in the first 90 days. I arrived, the first thing you need to do is get to know the team. You get to understand what we have. You get to go around the hotels. I've covered most of the hotels now in the UAE. I've met the general managers. I've met their teams. I've spent time with all the corporate VPs. I've looked at everything we're doing. And I've challenged everything we're doing. And not challenged because I want to challenge, but because I want to understand why we do certain things the way we do. When you come from outside a company, you bring a fresh perspective. And I told the corporate office team, for example, on day one, I said, I will bring change. I wasn't brought in to maintain the status quo. I will bring a different perspective. I am reasonably unreasonable. There are a whole series of things that you will learn about me, and they're not designed to be challenging or difficult, but they are designed to bring a different thought process. So that was what I brought to Rotana, I think, and that's basically the premise upon which I was hired, right? The chairman and the deputy chairman said to me, we want somebody from outside Rotana to be our CEO who brings a global perspective, who brings knowledge of the other companies that I've worked for, be it Fairmont or Four Seasons or Shangri-La. We want all of those things brought to the table, and so that's what I'm doing.
So as you mentioned about that experience of 5 continents, so I'll call that as a global experience because 5 continents is huge. So what do you think are some of the cultural traditions that affect the hotel management?
Well, I think the first thing you need to learn as somebody as you go from culture to culture is when you go somewhere, you need to adapt and adopt what you do to suit the culture that is present. You can't go, I was just in Pakistan this week, in Islamabad, and I ignore all the media portrayals of Pakistan because I want to go there with a fresh approach. I had the most wonderful hospitality. I had the most exciting partners to deal with. I had the most memorable experiences. The worst thing you can do is go into something thinking you know it, or to try to put into play your culture to impose upon them. Years ago, when I was looking after, when I was with Fairmont and I was looking after Saudi, I had the benefit of a wonderful VP in Saudi who would say to me, yes, Phil, I understand, but in Saudi, this is the way we look at things. So as somebody who's in hospitality, or in any industry for that matter, you have to go into culture with a fresh perspective and understand what they do. And you have to take that around the world with you. You know, in going into Vancouver, for example, and being there when a member of the royal family came from Abu Dhabi to Vancouver, and the team was like, well, what do we need to do? And I brought in somebody I had obviously knew, but I brought in somebody to help the operational team understand the differences and the variations, because that's what you have to do. You can't just do business as usual. You have to adapt and adopt. And I think that's key to, is understanding cultures is a key to doing business anywhere.
I'm very glad to know you had such a great experience in Pakistan as well as in Saudi.
I've had I love this region, and I was first here 15 years ago, and I love it for its warmth of hospitality, for the way you are treated, and I could give you story after story after story of how I've gone to different parts of this region and been treated as if I was a family member, which is magical, because it's very unique, if I may say, to this region, right? To get the kind of warmth and the hospitality that you get here.
So people look at you as a role model, especially the hotel managers and also C-level executives. So is there any kind of advice you want to give to the hotel managers that how they can be effective in their role?
I think the most important thing for anybody in any role is to be authentic and genuine. If you're paying lip service to something that you don't really believe in, people can see right through you. Do what you believe is right. Follow your instincts. Follow your passions. Understand what the guest is looking for. Understand what the customer is looking for. I've met countless chefs who told me, well, this is my, speciality. And I go, great, that's terrific. What does the guest think? What does the customer think? Because it really doesn't matter what they think, okay? Because if the customer doesn't like it, the guest doesn't like it, then it's irrelevant. The same applies, I've said this in the time that I've been in Rotana. I don't really care what we say about ourselves. It's what other people say about us that matters. So when you're looking at your business, right, understand what it is that other people's expectations are of you, right? And focus on that, right? And if you look around and you can see a dozen different things that need attention, every guest, every colleague, everybody, I have a philosophy that says I can't walk by any problem. I cannot.
So looking into the future, where do you want to take Rotana from here?
Rotana is a tremendous regional company now with 76 hotels. I have tremendous ambitions for the company. I mean, you just mentioned Pakistan. Our hotel in Islamabad is a franchise operation. We have wonderful partners there. I'd like to see us have 10 hotels in Pakistan. We're opening 2 centros in suburban London later this year. I would like to see us have 10 centros throughout the UK. I'd like to see us continue to grow the Rotana brand throughout the region. There are opportunities for us still remaining within the UAE, but also a lot of other opportunities for us in Qatar, in Egypt, in other parts of the world. I'd like to see us growing, but with substance. It's easy to put pins on a map. That's not what this is about. We have to go, we have to deliver a quality experience, and we have to take care of our owners.
So thank you for sharing these insights, and also to our viewers, it's a pleasure having you. We hope you had the similar fun and the kind of conversation that we had. And until next time, remember that hospitality is all about people.